Good morning. How are you doing today? I wanted to make a video today to do my thoughts on the Battlefield 2042 open beta. Forgive me, I needed to wet my whistle really bad. So, in order to understand my full take on the beta, let me give you a little insight. I came to Battlefield. The first Battlefield that I got, the reason why I ended up on it was just being unhappy with the state of Call of Duty, and when first coming to my first Call of Duty, before that, I had no real experience in everyday playing FPS games. Okay, so I've been a gamer all my life, primarily, I think, because my dad was a gamer. So my dad had a really big collection in the basement of Atari games. And that led to stuff like Sega Genesis, TurboGrafx 16. Now, I'm really aging and dating myself, but I'm just giving you an example, right? And I kind of came up on Call of Duty on a fluke. Okay, so, and even though this is a Battlefield video, it's important for me to give the backstory so that you understand why I came to the decision I came about these 20 odd hours that I spent with the beta, right? I came up on Call of Duty as a whole on a fluke because when I was a kid, I played a lot of different games. I'm old enough that when we used to go to the arcade deep, like 20 deep, to play video games. Arcade used to be packed. I used to blow all my allowance out there, especially online and shit. Like even the first PS3s that went online with the brick on the back of the system, I was there. But primarily all of my online gaming, competitive shit, multiplayer shit, it was all sports games. So initially, Madden, The Show, and before 2K was a thing, it was Live. And that was all I really played. Me and all my homeboys, that's all we really fucked around with was sports games. When I was younger, I was into fighting games and shit, because fighting games were what sports games was years ago, how 2K is now, But hold on. So, but I grew up playing baseball. So I was fucking around playing The Show online one day. And I had a really good battle with somebody. I always played with the Cleveland baseball team. And the person I was playing with the Yankees. And they was giving me the fucking business. But I don't always just get pissed off, even if I lose by a lot. Because my experience in playing games, whether it's sports games or fighting games or even shooter games, the more you get your ass kicked, the next time you step to anybody or have a 1v1 in a shooter game with somebody whose skills ain't like that person that kicked your ass, you gonna whoop their ass and send them out the door. You're gonna get better. So after this person whooped my ass, I friend requested them, right? I'm sadistic. And even though he ended up whooping my ass a couple more times, I got better. I started picking up the shit that he was doing and realizing how to counter it, and we ended up being on the equal par level on that year of the show. But I mentioned that just because he was like, oh man, you ain't getting the next Call of Duty? And the way he said it was like everybody was getting it. And I felt like, well, what the fuck is Call of Duty? Like, I think being a hardcore gamer, like, I had to have heard of it or something, but I was just not hip because FPS was not my shit. So, my first Call of Duty was the original Modern Warfare, right? Once I got on that shit, dude, I couldn't get off. Hit after hit after hit. Modern Warfare, the original, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. It was just banging. I didn't have to have another game to play. That's all I needed. Plus you could play with people all across the world. PS3 had video chat, all that shit, right? So eventually, you know, let me look at my other phone just to make sure that I have the particulars here, okay? So you have COD 2, 3, and those are the ones that I didn't because Modern Warfare was my first one. So World at War, I love that. Now, in that first Modern Warfare, I think what made the difference for me and hooked me in to playing FPS shooters and shit like that was the person that recruited me was the co-leader of a clan. So my first Call of Duty, and for all the Call of Duties after that for years, I never had to be a random or be a solo player. I got to learn from other experienced Call of Duty players, and it made my experience different than someone else's. Because a lot of people, they start playing and then they may get with a clan or get with groups of players that they play with. That's how I came in. So the teamwork aspect and all that shit, I never had to struggle with that shit because I had people there to teach me. And then they were good players, so I got better. And it also taught me how to play Call of Duty better in a team-based aspect. And this is before all the, the more popular lone wolf modes that are more popular today, where we played stuff like Dom or Hardcore Team Deathmatch. And with microphones and shit like that, you can communicate and you can be a better team player. So, Modern Warfare 2, the first Black Ops, I can't remember what I was doing, but I didn't have that one. But Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, even what's ironic is the most hated games in each of the two best shooter franchises. So for Call of Duty, the most hated one is Ghost. And for Battlefield, the most hated one is BF5. Both of those games I fucking love. Before this beta came out, I was playing Battlefield 5 every day. I just started fucking back with Battlefield 1 just because I was playing too much Battlefield 5. And I love both of those. I love Battlefield 1. So, but with COD, man, Advanced Warfare came out. And I was so Call of Duty fanboyed out that just like with Battlefield, I pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition of 2042. The first day it came available. I used to do the same shit with Call of Duty. So I did the same thing with Advanced Warfare, right? Got that shit, put it in. Dude, and now with PS5 you can see your playtime. I guarantee you if I scroll back years that I have less than an hour of gameplay on Advanced Warfare. And that's because as soon as I sat down with that shit, I was like, oh no. I got up, got in my car, and went back to GameStop and traded that shit back in. But like the love affair with Call of Duty is so deep, I kept going with the Black Ops. But the next Black Ops was all futuristic too, so I was like, oh, y'all motherfuckers done lost me. So that's when I came up on my first Battlefield. My first Battlefield was Battlefield Hardline. So like Battlefield Hardline is neck and neck as far as hated with Battlefield 5, but for different reasons. Now, being that I was not a Battlefield player before Hardline, I didn't know that Hardline was not like how a Battlefield is supposed to be. I didn't, after playing BF1 and BF5, I get it. But being so pissed off at Call of Duty doing stupid shit just to make money and turning away their most devoted fans, that's what actually even got me to try Hardline, So later on, after Hardline was done and shit, and switching around back to different Call of Duties and shit, When BF1 started coming out, I realized from reading Reddit or watching YouTube and shit of how Battlefield was supposed to be with the class setup and team play and this is your role, etc., like a real Battlefield, you know. And that's where I was like, okay, well, this is fucking way better than the shit I was playing. So, but I would still have my hooks in the Call of Duty shit. I was still pre-ordering it every year, still playing it. But then they came with that Infinite Warfare shit, right? And the same thing happened again. I gave them my money way up front, all that shit. Got the game, didn't even play less than an hour. Went right back and traded it in. Right then, I was like, yo, telling myself, like, any next Call of Duty that comes out, if I'm not sure that they putting shit in there that's not just for one set of players, but for everyone. Like, not just for the people that like RNG or run and gun, or not just for people who like to play long range and snipe, but for everyone. Don't just make the game one way and exclude a whole portion of the player base, you know? So I went ahead and got World War II. And most of these games, I got hundreds of hours of playing on them. Like even World War II for Call of Duty. To this day, I still don't like it. And I still got it downloaded. And I got almost 400 hours played on that shit. You know? But like, once they did Modern Warfare again, and, like, I went ahead and got Cold War, and I played tons of that, and I enjoyed it. But, once I tried BF1, and how different it was from Call of Duty, I was like, man, this is where it's at. It's much bigger. There's a lot more things to do other than just mindless point and shoot. You can drive vehicles, etc., etc. You can be helpful. If you having a bad, like, in the typical Battlefield games, even if you having a bad game, like, if you having a good day, you can grab Assault and just be fucking shit up all day long, okay? Now, say you having a round where the first 10 minutes of the round, you got more deaths than kills. Now, if you intelligent, and instead of just being greedy and being a kill whore, you could switch to support and make sure that everybody else has a better chance if you're struggling a little bit. Or, if worse come to worse, you could get medic and not even try to go for a kill and make sure everybody else stays up on their feet. And that can turn around the whole experience. And then maybe a game or two later, when you got your feels with your thumb action back together, you can go back to wreck shop again, right? So I purposefully didn't pay attention to too much of the stuff leading up to Battlefield 2042 because I still wanted it to be a surprise. And I apologize for the long intro, but it's important because this shit means a lot to me. I love video gaming, and I'm an older gentleman, but I don't give a fuck. I'm going to be 112 years old and still be fucking around playing PlayStation 12. Trust me. So, I purposefully didn't dig in too deeply to all of what Battlefield 2042 had to offer because I wanted to be surprised. I love that element of video gaming where you can tap into your imagination and just have fun, like regardless of like, I'm not afraid to say, I'm about to be 43 in a few days, but I love playing the games because in that moment and that immersion, that shit is out the window. I'm 13 again, playing, back in the day when you had to have a house full of motherfuckers to have fun on a game because you couldn't play with people all over the place, right? So, I knew about the specialist system. I knew that it was going to have a semi-futuristic modern setting, but that didn't scare me away because, as much as I hated Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare, I'm willing to admit it's just because I didn't like that gameplay style. Like, I'm not into fucking flying around and magic fairy bullshit. I want to get in there, get a gun, throw a grenade, and fuck you up. Like, I'm not about all that bullshit. And some of the last Call of Duties, that's what lost me. You know, like, I'm not the motherfucker that's gonna be in the Call of Duty with a unicorn colored skin with some bright pink ass gun and a clown mask on, wearing bikini bottoms and a sombrero and roller skates and shit. Like some of you motherfuckers in Call of Duty. That ain't me. You know? So uh when I started fucking with the beta, right? I'm super hyped. I'm up at 3 in the morning as soon as it dropped. Because I love Battlefield that much, right? So the first little bit of time that I'm playing, it's great. I'm loving it. You know? But as the end of the weekend went, I realized why I had so much fun at the beginning. Because now the first day or so of the beta, right? I saw all the different characters. You know, like everybody was running different specialists and shit. And so was I. You know? And I've played terrible betas before as far as quality. But as time went on, it was so shocking. I got great internet. And it's on PS5. But it was playing like a fucking cell phone game. You know? Like, it was so bad that, like, certain matches, I had to stop trying to shoot people. Because it just wasn't happening. The connection was so bad that, like, you'd shoot at somebody and the bullets would come out a second later. Or you shoot at somebody and they'd be in one place and then they in another place. You know, they'd be teleporting. Same thing with the vehicles. You know, like, all the Battlefields I love because I'm not really good at driving games or no shit like that. You know, like Need for Speed or any of that. But Battlefield made it so that with like 10 or 15 games of practice of you tanking or flying a plane or something, you could get the hang of it and become decent. You know, the flight shit is a lot harder than tanking as far as I'm concerned, you know. But I can still pick it up, you know, to even if though I'm not a good pilot, the planes that have more than one seat, you can get in there and still help, you know. So when the beta dropped, I was like, okay, you know, the first thing I noticed was just the pace, you know. The pace is like crackhead frenetic, you know. It's all sprinting, you know. And one thing that I loved coming from Call of Duty to Battlefield was the strategic, intellectual side of it, okay? So Battlefield amongst the community is almost always referred to as more casual. However, what I love about Battlefield is due to the size difference in the game, it can be mastered as far as your squad by playing strategically to where one squad can dominate a game, you know? And that sounds far-fetched, but it's not. You know, if you got a good squad that play their roles and play them well, you can dominate. You can have one person doing either tanking or flying. You can have one person playing the shit out of medic. You can have one person playing the shit out of recon and one support making sure don't nobody go without nothing and wreck shop. You know, each one have like 20, 30 kills and you just won the round despite the fact if you got noobs on your team or people running solo, running squads with only one person or two. So at some point in the beta, right? I don't know if it was some point during the second night or something, where I was like, hold on, man, like, am I the only person in this lobby running medic? As the days went on, like, I'm the only Maria out this motherfucker, right? Every fucking person I see is Mackie. Every single one. You know? And like every time I played with him, I was like, okay, I can jump up on top of this building with the grapple hook or not. The best thing I saw with using him was the power in strafing when you're fighting somebody, because he got added strafing speed. But the next thing I knew, everybody was using it, you know, and everybody had the same gun. So that started giving me PTSD from Call of Duty and shit, where in recent years, Call of Duty has developed this thing where everybody does the same thing. Everybody plays with the same gun. Everybody, you know, there's no individuality in it. We're all fucking clones, you know, because if you do this better than someone else, I have to do that to compete with you. Instead of like, no, I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to still whoop your ass, you know? Right? So then it got to a point where every team that I got on was also all Mackie and shit. So everywhere I look is Webster flying around the fucking screen. And to me, in my mind, it's like Webster from a TV show, not Webster Mackey. Because then you can't even tell who's on your team, who's on the other team. So you find yourself sometimes in a quick moment where you need to like draw down and shoot and not be fucking trying to figure out what's going on because you ain't got time to do that. But you thinking, is this a teammate or is this the homie? And by then it's too late, you know? So fast forward to last night was the last night of the beta, right? And after having a lot of fun the first night, because like I said, again, the first night, it was a lot more homogenous. Everyone was playing different roles, trying shit out, you know? And throughout the beta, I rotated from Boris to Maria most of all. Those two, Boris and Maria. And I did Casper a lot too, but I kind of felt like the sniping shit, like BF1 and BF5 is better in sniping than this shit, you know? And all of my Call of Duty history, I've always been a DMR marksman player. You know, like I'll run the other weapons just to rank shit up, just to get better with all weapons. But I prefer the semi-auto rifles or long range, you know? So, but Call of Duty, you know, has always catered to the opposite of that. So it was always a challenge for me to to excel in Call of Duty because I prefer a different play style. But even in my success in playing Call of Duty, I enjoyed it just because it was a big challenge, because everybody else would gravitate towards running and gunning, and I'd be picking them all off, you know. So once the beta ended, and at the end of the beta, it was not only everybody running the same specialist; they all had the same setups. Okay, so if you, whether you saw Boris, Webster, Maria, or Casper, they all had a rocket launcher. Okay? So I do like to run tanks, but I'm not a tank main. I hop in a tank from time to time because I like shooting motherfuckers from it. I like driving it, but I'd rather play infantry, you know? But I started to realize like fucking even being in a tank is a liability because everybody's running around with launchers. So it's harder. And it's more monotonous. So one of the biggest things was that due to the specialists and shit, like nobody's running around with ammo crates. Okay? So you're always going dry. And the only other option is to fucking do stupid shit like run out in the open and grab the whole 6 bullets that the last enemy dropped. And you get killed. You know? So, and it's the same thing with health, you know, because nobody revives in 2042. Where that's what I love about Battlefield 5. Man, it's funny when you don't get revived and motherfuckers be right next to you and shit like that. But both BF1 and BF5 had dedicated good medics, you know, and I was revived so little in the whole 20-something hours that I played the beta that I can't barely remember anybody picking me up. That's how ridiculous it was, you know. But once it ended, because like initially I thought, okay, even though the clash system was removed, right, that I could still find a way to be successful and have fun. You know, I still had a lot of good rounds. I had several bad rounds, but I still had good rounds too. But my whole thing was what made me fall in love with Battlefield was the role specific strategic nature of it. And all of that is gone. Like, no matter what some of these motherfuckers post on the internet, that shit is gone. It's all selfish. It's all like kill horn. There's no team play in that shit at all no more. You know? Which is really beautiful for me because I love Battlefield so much that I bought the Ultimate Edition. I was all ready to go. And now today I got a choice to make. You know? I'm like, I am this close. A cat's whisker close to fucking canceling my pre-order, man. And the only reason why I ain't done it yet, man, is that like that's gonna take it out of me, man. Because I was already set that like whatever the fuck is going on with Call of Duty, because I've been hearing shit about that too. Like I was feeling good because like I ain't got to fuck with that shit this year like I did last year. You know, only for this shit to come out and be like, oh my goodness. They stripped everything away from Battlefield that made Battlefield Battlefield. Like, even though I had a lot of fun, and I find several points of the new game really good, it's just so much negative shit that just outweigh it. Like, imagine how in older Battlefields, right? You could know that, like, even if somebody don't revive you this time, you ain't gonna die like that a bunch of times and ain't nobody gonna revive you. Okay? If you happen to run out of ammo in any other Battlefield, you know that somebody gonna hit you off with some ammo. You ain't gonna go multiple games just running out of ammo and can't find none. You know? Even when you were with shitty, terrible teammates on Battlefield 5, you could find a station to re-up. Ain't none of that in this one. You know? So today, it just really hit me like, I'm either going to have to like, I think in order to get what I want and have some enjoyment, like I do believe if I keep the pre-order and get 2042, that I could still have some fun with it when it launches. But if I want that more realistic shit, instead of 2042 is so arcadey, it's ridiculous. It's like a children's game, you know? That I'm probably going to have to, like, I've been looking into Insurgency Sandstorm and World War III. But I think World War III is PC only. I hope it gets a console port, but Insurgency Sandstorm just came out, like, maybe 10 or 12 days ago. And it looks like what I wanted Battlefield to be, minus the vehicle aspect. So, but as far as I know, World War III does have the vehicles, you know. But again, both of these games that I've just spoke of are not like visually stimulating AAA titles like DICE would give or Activision, you know. So that's my hesitation, man. Like I had to go to, you know, because those games, even though they look great, they're from indie developers. So the best that they're going to be able to give you is going to be like on par with some of the popular F2P games. And I'm not looking to go backwards in graphics and all this shit. But if I want a real gunfight without all this fucking bullshit, that's probably what I'm going to have to do, man. And it's so fucking disappointing. You know? But what can you do? You know? If motherfuckers want to spend a million gazillion bucks on cosmetics and shit, and that's how the industry goes, you can't do shit. Like on Cold War, Cold War, I probably spent more money in the aftermarket than I did on the game. So I get it, you know, but I don't agree with sacrificing the whole game just for the microtransactions, you know. So it's yet to be determined. I'll probably keep the pre-order just because I'll feel worse canceling it and giving up on Battlefield. You know, but I'm heavily contemplating just switching to Insurgency Sandstorm. So my final assessment is I had a lot of fun playing it, but just realizing that, like, in order for me to keep this, I'm co-signing just fucking off team play. All the things that I love about Battlefield that made Battlefield different from Call of Duty. Whereas 2042 is just like, fuck it, we're going to do Call of Duty better than Call of Duty. When, even though for forever, Call of Duty's player base has been much higher than Battlefield, what made Battlefield stand out was because it wasn't Call of Duty. And now these motherfuckers have just completely sold out and thrown in the fucking towel. Like, we're gonna be Fortnite, PUBG, Vanguard 2042 on the Battlefield.